I always believe that as long as you're alive, there's always hope. Hope dies when you die. So don't ever give up.
I'm Carol Ofori, and this is The Comeback, a podcast about resilience, healing, and the strength it takes to keep moving forward. Living with a chronic illness is a lifelong battle. But when you're diagnosed young, it shapes everything. Your confidence, your choices, your sense of self. Michelle Chetty was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes as a child and spent years trying to manage her health. A near-fatal car accident in 1981 made things even worse. For years, she battled self-esteem issues, obesity, and the effects of mismanaged diabetes. Now, through time, resilience, and purpose, Michelle found a way forward. Today, she's thriving, dedicated to empowering young people and making a difference through her NPO. This is The Comeback with me, Carol Ofori, and this is Michelle Chetty's story. Hi, Michelle, and thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Carol.
So let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
Where did Michelle grow up? Who is Michelle? And, tell us more about, who are you at the core, your upbringing.
Okay. So, I like to say I'm from Durban, but I was born in KwaZulu Hospital. That's what it was known as at that time.
Yeah.
But my parents were already living in Johannesburg. They're from Durban as well.
Okay.
So we flew back to Durban as soon as my mom could take to Johannesburg. We lived in Lenasia at that time. It was apartheid and all of that. So we lived in that area and lived there for the first 7.5 to 8 years of my life, and then we moved to Lodium because of my dad. My dad was a school principal.
Lodium's Joburg side, right?
Yes, Lens, Lenasia and Lodium.
There you go, yeah.
So Johannesburg and Pretoria, and so I grew up there, but I hated living in Johannesburg.
Okay.
Because my family, all my grandparents, my cousins, a whole lot were from Durban. And we came down to Durban in June and December because, we couldn't just fly down. We had to drive down, right? So that was a difficult journey. And that was my people. So I really used to cry going back home. And I remember standing at the clothesline, sniffing the towels that we used in Durban.
Did they have a different smell?
No. But it just, gave me some comfort.
Yeah.
And then in Lodium, I started a new school. I didn't like being there, of course, because now it was a new school. My first 2.5 years of school was amazing. I loved it. I did so well academically and all of that. Then we got to Lodium, and it's a new school. It's different people, and the people were not as friendly. And I started missing school because I used to feel ill all the time. And my dad thought that I just didn't like being at school. So, he would be upset with me because he's a school principal.
Right.
And all his family are academically getting qualified and all of that, right?
Yeah.
So that was quite a big problem. But one Monday morning, I woke up and I just couldn't go. And he was so mad with me.
Yeah.
And I'm going to mention this on air because we have talked about it. And he said, "Michelle, what is wrong with you?" He wasn't beating me up, don't worry.
Yeah.
What is wrong with you? You need to go to school. And I fainted. They had to call in the ambulance.
How old were you at this time?
I was 8 years old.
Oh, okay.
I turned 8 in May that year. And this happened in August. They called the ambulance, and the emergency team there tested my sugar. They did a finger prick.
Wow.
My sugar was so high it couldn't be counted on the glucometer.
Jeez. At 8 years old.
At 8 years old. So I was apparently rushed. I was rushed to H.F. Verwoerd Hospital, and I saw Dr. Zitzman. And he then said to my parents that I am diabetic. They're lucky they caught it on time because I would have died. It was so high. Then I was admitted in hospital for 2 weeks. They were poking and prodding me for all those 2 weeks.
Shame, this poor little 8-year-old.
And, at that time, this was a public hospital. We you couldn't have your parents stay over. Now parents stay over in a bed next to the child. Parents had to go home every day. They could only be there during visiting hours. It was like torture, you know, because you're being away from your parents for the first time. And I remember that there was a nurse there, Nurse Amelia, who was so kind to me. She was amazing.
It's insane you can remember her all these years later.
Oh, she was such a good person. And if you're hearing this, Nurse Amelia, I love you. She just helped me so much.
You found out you had diabetes, but not just any diabetes.
No.
Why the Juventus?
Yes, yeah, that's why the Juventus. Right. So, and the doctors were actually shocked because at that time, this is now 44 years ago, I think. Yes, 44 years ago. It was very rare to find children having type 1 diabetes. Right. And it's not hereditary. I had mumps before that. And I had all of those, mumps and measles and chickenpox. But I had a fever which caused my pancreas to fight with or my autoimmune system to fight with my pancreas. I'm putting it in layman's terms. Yeah. And that caused my pancreas to stop working. So
that's what happened that caused you to
that caused the diabetes. Yes.
Got it. Okay.
So
here you are, 8-year-old, diagnosed with diabetes. And of course, with that level of diabetes, you need to be injecting yourself, right?
Yes.
And what was that like?
So I think I soon got used to it. In the hospital, it was, but when I got home, I had to realize this was my life now. We'd met a doctor called Dr. Pankaj Joshi. He's now a professor. He was becoming a professor of diabetology at that time, and they became family friends. So I had very good medical help at the time as well to ease me into this.
Yeah.
So I soon learned how to give myself the insulin, the injections.
Yeah.
But at that time, so now you have insulin pens,
yes,
right?
Yes.
I can show you a pen if you want.
Yeah, I've seen the insulin pen.
Right?
Yeah.
But at that time, you had to use syringes to draw from a vial.
Like a nurse in a hospital.
Yes, and then you've got to, click the syringe so that the air bubble comes out, and then
give it to yourself.
And give it to yourself, and I usually give it on my tummy because that's the most pain-free place. Not free, but less pain.
Got you.
Yeah.
Oof.
Got used to that. Got used to having to test my sugar all the time. The first glucometer I had was like the size of a brick. Now they're so nice and tiny.
Small, yeah.
There was a diabetes symposium in Pretoria at the time that this doctor ran, and I was the main speaker because now I was this
little girl who'd been through it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember the first part of my speech was, "Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Michelle Chetty, and I am diabetic." That's what I remember.
At 8 years old. That's
At
insane.
8 years old.
That's
but
insane.
Anyway, for the first year, I was a star diabetic. I ate all the right things. But I hated the food that I was now eating. Okay. I had to drink skimmed milk, powdered skimmed milk. No more full cream milk out of the bottle. At that time, it was the bottle. And all of the other things. But I had to have 6 meals a day, 3 meals, 3 snacks, and protein plus a carb. After 9 years old, after a year of being diabetic, I lost it. It was too much. I started eating the cake in secret because my parents were so, the doctors terrified us. They said, if she doesn't look after herself, she will have heart problems, she will have kidney failure, she will lose her eyesight, she'll have gangrene. You'll have pins and needles because of the neuropathy.
Oh my gosh.
Like so many things.
Right, all the health complications that could come with having the sugars.
Yes.
So you started secretly eating the sugars.
Yes.
And then what happened?
So for a while, initially it was like I would do not a whole lot at a time. But when I became a teenager, oh my word, the pressure. And food is a social thing.
It is.
So I was taking, I'm actually skipping the other thing, but I was taking brown bread, healthy sandwiches to school and exchanging it with my class friend
Yeah.
for his tasty sandwiches
That you're not supposed
that
to
I'm not
eat it.
supposed to be eating.
So what were the health implications of doing that?
Okay, so I was putting on weight because now I was injecting extra insulin to take care of the extra sugar I was eating. But because I was on an insulin regime that dipped in the night, the insulin peaked at night, I would wake up in the middle of the night because now you don't know how much to take, right? You're calculating for your pancreas, basically. I would try to walk myself to the kitchen, to the fridge, to eat something. And sometimes I would fall on the floor and be in a diabetic coma. Thankfully, my parents would hear me and come down and pour sugar down my mouth and wake me up. And of course, you have temporary amnesia for that time. So you're asking, what day is it? Where am I? What's going on? You know? So that did happen quite a few times. And my parents were, shame. I think I traumatized them.
Shame. Yeah.
So the relationship eventually between my parents, especially my dad, who's a school principal, started becoming a little tricky when I was a teenager.
Was this because of the eating or because of the hormones of being a teenager and growing into yourself?
Everything.
Yeah, a combination.
Now I'm diabetic. I'm different from other kids. I can't go swimming so much because my sugar will drop. I can't eat too much because my sugar will go high. Or rise. I can't eat cake because my sugar will rise. I can't do I've got to sleep at a certain time. I've got to take my insulin and eat at certain times. That insulin regime was bad. But before we even got to that story, when I was 9 years old, now the following year, in December of that year, I was a flower girl for a wedding.
And how old were you then?
I was 9.
9, yeah.
9, so now it's December. So I turned 9 in May, and this is December of that year.
Yes.
And wedding happened, and I don't remember the wedding at all. We were coming home from the park, where, they take the photos and all of that, and the bus driver, this is now the 26th of December, drunk.
1981.
1981, yes. Wow, thank you. 1981, the bus driver knocks the back of the car, and apparently, according to witnesses, the car was the door. We were a lot of people in the car, so I was at the door. The door opened, car door opened. My head, apparently, half my body was in and half out of the car. My head dragged on the tarmac for about 20 meters. Now. And then when the car finally stopped, the boot popped open and the spare tire came out and landed on my face. So if you look at me without makeup, this area is quite dark, and my nose is flat. The bone here is flat because that got crushed. My jaw was not dislocated, completely broken off. And of course had to be rushed to the hospital. Thankfully, thank God, my sugar had dropped. I was so excited I didn't eat enough. I ate one prune to keep my sugar up. So I don't remember any of this. I remember what the witnesses say they saw. Oh yeah, I only remember that. Anyway, I remember being wheeled into hospital. I was on the stretcher and my mom saying, she's diabetic, put her on a drip. She's diabetic, put her on a drip. In the house, the doctors weren't listening. But eventually they listened. My mom was a nurse before she got married.
Right.
And eventually they got hold of my dad, who was at the cricket. The cricket's on the 26th of December.
Right.
But nobody could contact him because there were no cell phones that.
Of course, it's 81.
It's 81. Eventually they found him. He comes to the hospital after they've now, wiped off the blood and everything. But I've got this gauze over my nose and it continues to bleed. He came in, looked for me, and didn't know who I was.
That's how bad.
It was. But again, doctors say that I would have died at that time. So they treated me. The nurses refused to allow me to see a mirror. Eventually, when I'd come to, and now they were able to take off the gauze and like tidy me up after quite a few days. They refused to give me a mirror. They used to give me a steel bowl to wash my face. So the one day I emptied the steel bowl out and I looked in the bowl, and all I could see was it was purple. It was purple, and I cried. I was like, now I'm 9 years old, and I've learned that you becoming an adolescent from 9 onwards.
Yeah.
So things are happening inside of me as well. And so this was, anyway, I was transferred. That was R.K. Khan Hospital. I was then transferred to King Edward Hospital because there was a specialist there who could then put my jaws together. But the way they did it at that time was temporary because my face now, the bones hadn't stopped growing. So they had to wait for all of that. So in the meantime, they used wires to stitch my mouth together and made a little hole. They had to move some teeth around and make a little hole so that I could sip bread dunked in milk, in the milk, and sip it, or sip the porridge, or sip tomato, any kinds of soup and whatever. And that's how I would eat. And
how long were you in this condition?
I was in that condition, I think it was 6 weeks. The King Edward Hospital didn't understand diabetes at the time. I'd told them I'm feeling weak, test my sugar. They tested my sugar and gave me milk to drink. My parents came home and came to visit me that morning, and I was hallucinating. So from then, they found a way to make sure that my mom stays with me, to make sure my sugar is taken care of. Anyway, I was released, discharged.
Yes.
And I remember going to school. So I get into the class. I see my teacher and I say, "Good morning, sir. Please excuse me for coming late." That moment lasted so long because as I stood there, I knew what my face looked like. And I could see my teacher not concerned about me being late anymore, but he's looking at my face. Right. And I'm walking away, but I feel myself not being able to walk away and go and sit with the class. And the class is looking at me now. And now you get all sorts of attention because now teachers get to hear that she was in a car accident and all of those things. Anyway, time passed. That was taken off, and I was given braces to start moving my teeth around for the op that would eventually happen in about 6 years. Then we moved to Stanger because now finally that's where our home was going to be. And I was with different people, I had to make new friends again.
Yeah.
So I was always the new girl. And these learners came from primary school into high school together. So I was the new person. Eventually made some friends. I became, I wouldn't say a bully, but I became the person that would make a joke about somebody else first so that nobody would look at me. Because now I started to become conscious of the flattened bone. If you see my bite, it's I've got an underbite.
Right, I see, yes.
I keep my jaws open all the time, so you
don't see.
You don't really know, right? So I was conscious of all of that, and now I had started putting on weight. I remember coming down to Durban at 9 years old, and someone said to me, "What happened to you? You put on weight. You've gone so fat." Indians. I love my people. I'm not. I'm just using the accent.
Social commentary,
right?
Yeah. Your weight's always social.
Yes. So the previous year I was so thin, so skinny, and now I'm so fat. Now you're confused. What do people want?
Yeah.
My parents are conscious of me eating all the right things. That translates in my mind to stop putting on weight. You're going to be fat. You're going to be ugly, because now hormones are telling you a different story as well in your brain. So get to school, I don't feel like the nicest looking girl. There were some, I remember a boy wrote me a letter. "Dear Michelle, I want to marry you."
How sweet.
Yeah, I walked to the back of the class where he sat and I slapped him.
Now, why would you do that?
I have no idea, but I was becoming like, I can't believe that somebody would feel like that I was attractive.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, I was always thinking someone's joking about me, or someone's,
Trying
a
to-
guy asked me out and I thought somebody set him up to ask me out. That's what started happening in my brain. And my braces, I was teased that my dad put burglar guards on my teeth so that I couldn't kiss anyone.
Oh, no, kids, yeah.
I was called sugar in school. I didn't mind that. Diabetes, sugar.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And in fact, eventually some of my friends used to say, Michelle, how's a low there? So,
How's a low?
yes, I would feign a low sugar so that we could waste the period.
Ah,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah. So,
So it would help the period go away.
yes, because
Okay.
now I started becoming this person that didn't like school and I didn't care. I didn't care at home what my father thought anymore, although I did care because we were now having this bad relationship.
Right.
Got to university eventually and completed my degree, which should have taken me a maximum of 4 years. It took me 7 years. But the 7 years now, eventually I was growing and becoming a better person in myself. There were things happening. I was getting bigger still. I was putting on more weight because I still wasn't doing the right things regarding myself,
health.
and I still hated myself.
Right. And
So
then there was an incident with your back.
yes, that came later.
Yeah.
That came later. So yeah, I'll Anyway, I completed my degree and all of that, and time passed, and as I started thinking about what I want to do, I thought I did teaching courses in my degree, and I thought maybe I'll become a teacher. Maybe I'll do this. I still didn't know what I wanted to do. I used to make jewelry and sell those to make a little bit of money on the side. I taught preschool, primary school, eventually high school. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. But I loved working with teenagers. I didn't love so much the academic aspect of it, or rather the admin aspect of it. I love teaching. So I started to think, God, what do you want? I'm depressed now. I hate myself. I wear baggy clothes.
And what age were you now?
Now I'm
19?
now I'm in my 20s. And I was just like, I used to cry for every single birthday. I used to cry.
Wow. In your 20s?
In my 20s. God, what do you want of me? I need to know why I'm here on this earth. I don't want to be here. I used to write such dark poetry. And there was like almost no hope there. And eventually, this guy preached in my church, and he was working in this organization that worked with young people and children. Cut to a little bit later on, because initially I didn't join them. The following year, my church then did a holiday club, which is a 5-day program for children from 6 to 12 years old. In the school holidays, and you use a theme, then you do drama, arts, crafts, all of that. We had about 240 children attending. We were all trained to do the program, and I had 40 children in my group only, and I was able to control them. I had the happiest, most joyful week of my life at the time, and I was like, wow. And I said, Mom, I love it. It's amazing. So then my mom said, but there's no money here. You won't get paid for what you're doing. And my dad said, if this is what makes her happy, we will support it. It was time to come home. And the guy said, no, the person in charge there said, I've arranged an interview with you with the organization, and I think you should be a full-time worker in your area. And I said, no, I can't do that. He says, no, I've already done it. You've got the interview at such and such time. So I went home and prayed about it.
Right.
And I said, God, I want you to show me through your word. I want you to, at that time it was just that. And I went for the interview, and the interview was like, it was amazing. I loved it. Came home, and now I knew that I needed to find a car.
Yeah.
And I needed to have raised so much so that I could work here, because now you raise your own funds, right?
Yeah.
My father didn't know that I was looking for a car.
Oh, wow.
Between he and I used to save money. I was a temp teacher as well, so I was earning every now and again, right?
Right.
And I worked for a doctor, and I used to do all that stuff, and I loved it. Anyway, we were saving money together, and there was 12,000 rands in that account. And there was a guy in my church selling a red Toyota Corolla, 16 valve, and my dad and I had made an arrangement, and my dad got that car for me. I didn't say I needed a car, but my prayer was, God, I need that car. Within 2 weeks, my family, my uncles and aunts, decided, I didn't tell them I want them to support me. They decided that they would support me, and there were people who I didn't know who had come forward to say they will support this work. And God showed me through His word. And so I was like, okay, this is what God wants me to do. I started that work. I went for the training in May that year. I grew up in a home where I didn't walk bare feet. My mother, it was clean and tidy. Now I went on this camp and I had to walk on the grass without shoes. I had to walk through mud. I had to do things I had never done before.
Right.
But the last day of that training was my 29th birthday. We'd gone up to, this is now in Magaliesburg. We'd gone up to a campsite called Kiara, and we were on the gorge, and we were given time to pray for 4 hours. That 4 hours went, because we were spending time not just talking to God, but also listening. It was so amazing. It was the most amazing birthday I had had at that time. Wow. And I can tell you, life has never been the same. I started work in the schools, and things started to change for me. And I started to see that this is where I belong. I was so joyful. The school principal eventually that I'm now working with for 20 years. Yeah. Can I mention the school? This is Overport Secondary School. Shout out to Overport Secondary. I love you. Yeah. And Beshe Secondary. But this school principal said to me, Michelle, if you work here, you can't just do one course and then go away. I want you here. It can't be a hit and run thing. And that's what I wanted. Because I know that when you work with teenagers, you've got to be there consistently. You can't just be there and then disappear, because teenagers have so many people letting them down all the time. Yeah. So who's this now? Whatever she tells us, is that going to change anything? Yeah. So I was happy with that. I was working in primary schools before that. This journey in high school was so amazing, and girls eventually started telling me their stories. I had to recruit volunteers all the time, so it wasn't just me now. It was myself and my teams. And I had teams from England. I'd get 2 people at a time, Sarah and Gemma and Caroline from Scotland, all these people, Gillian. They were my favorite ones. So, but they helped me, and I had locals who were amazing to see that. You know, we think there are people in South Africa there who are so busy with trying to make it themselves that they can't give back. Yeah. But I've had so many people on my team wanting to give back, even though they don't have themselves. Sure. So anyway, after 4 or 5 years, girls were starting to tell us their stories, and their stories were of abuse. Oof. It was horrific. It wasn't just now. It was when I was 4 years old. When I was a child, I was taken away by this person, and it was horrible. I won't mention those things here right now. So I eventually started saying, because I was teaching life skills at the schools, and we were doing leadership and all of those things. And I said, God, why am I hearing these stories? Yeah. And so we did the first pilot camp, which was called the Beauty Camp. Mm-hmm. And in 2006, and it was amazing. Of the 30 girls that we had, you could say 26 of them started crying They were running out, they were screaming, they were broken. And we realized that more than 85%, close to 90% of the children that we work with have been abused at some point in their lives. And so I had something to think about. And that then brought us to developing the Why Womb program, which is Young Women of Magnificent Beauty. Because we are saying empowered women birth empowered people. So it's a play on the womb, right? Because women are the ones who nurture. And if I help these girls, they're going to help the girls coming after them. That's the whole idea behind the program. But about a year later, one of my girls wasn't in school for a long time, and then she came to school, and I said, where have you been? We've been looking for you. She says, they call me Auntie Michelle. Auntie Michelle, I'm so sorry, but you know what you taught me, it helped me to heal because I was raped. But what we taught her helped her to heal. So now I'm thinking, I can't prevent them just by empowering them. I've got to help boys.
Yeah.
So then we decided, we worked on the YMO program, which is Young Men of Honor. And we're saying honorable men, raising honorable men to raise an honorable nation. And that's where our Y Woman, YMO programs work. I left that organization, moved to another organization. Now I'm running Epic Youth Matters. And our work is GBVF prevention and youth empowerment. And we're saying youth empowerment because GBV doesn't exist on its own. You can't deal with just those aspects without dealing with everything that involves a teenager.
Right.
I still don't have money, but I can tell you I am joyful. In 2021, I woke up, and we're doing all of this now. Things are like amazing. It's like, wow, we got this fund eventually as well, because now they were recognizing our work.
Yeah.
But 2021, one morning I wake up and I can't get out of bed without screaming in pain. I still live with my parents, because I'm still single, so that's still happening, right? So my parents weren't home. I had to help myself to the bathroom, do all of that, because now I got a call. This is now during COVID. And we were, during COVID, distributing hampers because we couldn't go into schools.
Right.
So the fund that we were getting, we used it now. And we started raising funds on Facebook. I would say these are the people, we used photos because photos create an emotive scene.
Right, and paint a picture of who needs it.
Right? So people started sending money. And we fed close to 2,000 to 3,000 families at a time with our small organization, with food for 2 weeks at a time. And so I was carrying these 10 kg mini-meal bags on either side with my team. But the whole team couldn't be there also because it was COVID.
Yeah.
Okay. I wake up now. Albany called me to say, we've got bread for you. You can come pick up. So I'm getting ready to go and pick up. But I can't now. I had to wait for my parents to come. And I thought I could drive myself to the doctor, get an injection for pain, and I'll be fine.
Yeah.
My dad had to take me. Go to the doctor's. He gives me an injection. Nothing helps. Eventually, I was referred to another doctor. He checked me, gave me some injections on my spine, told me he did an x-ray. He said, you are overweight. You need to lose weight because your cartilage is damaged. But why did he give me an injection on my spine? For nerves, right? But he's insisting on not sending me for an MRI. I don't have the funds to go to any other doctor. My medical aid won't pay for all of that. I'm on the lowest rung of the medical aid because of the funds that I get, right? So I lied like that until my uncle said to me, call this doctor. This doctor was leaving to Tokyo the next day for the Paralympics. But he said to me, use this medication, and when I come back, I will help you. So anyway, he gave me some pain meds that were helping a little bit. I was only able to stay in bed flat. I couldn't walk. I couldn't go to the bathroom by myself. I couldn't feed myself. We have stairs in my house. My room's upstairs. My parents had to come, and they're now older. They're in their 70s, 80s, 70s. I had to bring my food up and down. They had to feed me, take care of me. 2 months in screaming, tormenting, excruciating pain. I say unbearable, but I did bear it because God helped me through. But I learned to praise God through that, saying, God, you have a reason, you have a purpose for all of this. I don't know what it is now, and this is horrible, but I am trusting you. Eventually, we discover that I need to have surgery urgently. Get into hospital, a 2-hour surgery takes 4.5 hours. The doctor then says to my parents after the surgery that if they didn't do the op at that time, I would have been in a wheelchair. So, thank you, God. I now subsequently discovered that the disc between my L5 and S1 vertebrae slipped completely. It was out. The bones fused, and that's what was giving me pain in my legs, because the nerves were being squashed. See, the nerves are through there, and when your body moves, that disc gives it freedom to be able to be flexible, right? But now there's nothing there. And now I need to go for physiotherapy, use all of my funds for physiotherapy, for the recovery. Everything's gone. I'm on pain medication. I was on Schedule 7 pain medication. I don't know if you watch the movie. Anyways, time passed. I've learned to now walk properly. The doctor said to me, walking is a rhythm, and you have to get back your rhythm in spite of what your body feels like. So I've been very strict with myself, going to do my walks and going for physiotherapy. I'm not on all of that medication. I'm on some of it still because I've got to be, because my nerves are damaged. My nerves didn't heal. It takes 2 years for nerves to heal. It did not heal, so I'm numb at the back of my thighs and under my feet and a little bit of my ankles.
At this point?
At this point, yeah. And I still have pain, so I've got to. But I can tell you, I got up. I was back in school. My teams were so amazing. They showed me that I didn't even need to be there. Work carried on without me. I remember going to a camp, the first camp that I was now able to go to, because we run camps as well, right? And I couldn't walk. I was in pain still, and I wasn't as well at that time. But I sat down for most of that camp. My team did everything, and that camp ran. And the camps have been running since. I am obviously much better now. I can do so much. But my teams have shown me that they're there for it.
Yeah.
I might not have the money in the bank, but my heart is so full. And in my 52 years, it's now going to be 24 years that I've been in full-time work, depending on God for the funds, but going into schools and doing the work and helping children. Those children that we started helping right at the beginning, many of them then feed back into the organization. They work with us, and then they go on to whatever they are doing after that. Mm-hmm. So the organization is run.
And it runs.
Yes.
In a way that it's giving back consistently.
Yes.
Your story, Michelle, is just like, it's so eye-opening on so many levels. And if we just look at a snippet of the 3 major incidents that happened in your life, the first being 8 years old, being diagnosed with diabetes, type 1, serious diabetes, and nearly dying. The second being that you walk this journey, and from that, you now have a situation where you have your back hurt as well, and then it just piles on. Your story is just, there's been so many elements of where things could have not gone well, and they've just gone well. As I mentioned, it's 8 years old, you have a situation. 9 years old, you have this horrific car accident that literally affects your entire face. and then your disc in your back. And I guess my big question to you is, when you hear these stories, what would you say is your comeback? Because you living a life to me now that feels so fulfilled, even though in the beginning you felt so much lack.
So I think you remember I said to you, my cry was, why am I here on this earth? I feel a big thing for all of us is purpose. If we don't know why we're here and we don't live out that purpose, that brings meaning to your life. So you can be earning a whole lot of money, but if you're not living meaningfully, I don't believe that you will be very happy. I could be wrong. But if you live meaningfully, you can live meaningfully on very little. I also learned through this that things can go wrong all the time, but you can come back. You can come back, and you can come back. And as long as you're living a life giving and being purposeful, you feel fulfilled. I always believe that as long as you're alive, there's always hope. Hope dies when you die. So don't ever give up.
Michelle Chetty, thank you so much for being on the comeback. And your story is remarkable, and keep shining your light and keep changing the lives that you've been changing every day. And just living your life is an inspiration to others. So thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you so much, Carol, for having me here and for inviting me. Thank you for letting me talk about EPIC. Can I just say we're an NPO, so we're constantly raising funds to do what we do. It's been tough with COVID funders dropping off and all of that. So if people would like to support us, they can contact me or they can look at our website. Am I allowed? The website is www.epicyouthmatters.org.za. And we have a Facebook page, which is Epic Youth Matters. You'll find that very easily. And we post our work there all the time. So you can reach out on any of those platforms, and we will help you help us. And we will help you bring joy to the faces of so many in this country who need it.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Carol.
The Comeback with Carol Ofori is an East Coast radio podcast.